Hey guys, so in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you guys how to create 3D animatable butterflies, wings, and so on in After Effects out of 2D graphics from Photoshop. So let's get started.
Go ahead, new project here, because I do also want to talk about other ways to play around with this artistic comp. Now, don't forget some of the ways, whether we start in Photoshop or we can start in Illustrator, film and video, HD TV, create. Okay, so I just have this blank, which I can then place a graphic. Place embedded. And I've got myself here another piece of art, a butterfly. Okay, and I'm just going to place this. It's a pretty big image, so I'm just going to place it in the middle. Now, this, ironically, object. Don't forget to rasterize it, so it's no longer a smart object. Okay. By the way, I don't know if you noticed, there are some new updates that they just put in today for Adobe Photoshop and some other, this, like, you see this here, this new pop-up tab. I don't really like it, but. Okay, so what did I bring in here? I brought in a butterfly. That was a PNG transparency, right? So it already is cut off from the background. And watch what I'm going to do with it. Okay. X, V. That back where it needs to go. Get the other. Okay, X, V. So I'm taking this simple butterfly now and breaking it up to its three components. Okay, so I can basically go, hey, this is left wing, right wing, this is the body. Oops. Don't forget, when you cut things up like that, you got to heal. You got to fix the problem here, and you can see what the problem is. I cut into the body, and that's where we have some of these other interesting tools we could use. So I'm just going to use the clone stamp to kind of fill in the body there. Like that, right? I mean, I probably could even clean this up just a little bit here by just using a brush. Okay, so I just have the body. Nothing fancy about it. Body. Right wing, left wing. So what am I going to do with this? Well, first let's save it. Control S to save. Remember, good practice here is always work in folders. So I'll call this my butterfly comp or something like that. All right. Now remember, I could also very easily here change the colors, but I could also do that in After Effects. So what am I going to do with this? Well, I'm going to import, right-click, import, file, import. That butterfly comp. But remember, import as composition, and I'm going to say retain layer size. That way, my anchor point will be centrally based upon the size of the layer, not the size of the entire composition. Okay, and when it pops this up, this is just double checking. Hey, do you want to bring this as a composition? Yes. Now, what am I going to do with this? Okay. Now, something I'm a little annoyed with here is it brought over the guides. Okay, remember here in the view, as far as your guides, I can clear them here and just resave, Control S, and it should update here and remove those guides. Should. Try reloading. Maybe I need to come here. View. Show guides. There we go. I just turn them off. I don't really need those guides because remember I have action title safe if I need guides. All right, so what am I going to do with this? Well, watch this, okay? Now, I've got about 16 seconds here in my timeline. If I need to, I could change that, of course, by composition settings and giving it the length of time I want. But I'm going to leave it at 16 because I'm going to bring this butterfly to life as 3D animation. And so you could think about this. You could do this with a photo of a bird. You could do this with an insect, a dragonfly. You could do this with, you know, a spaceship or an airplane or something like that. Watch how cool. I'm going to simply activate the 3D cubes for those layers. Okay? But I need to make sure that my anchor point here is at the point of rotation. Okay, and now it put that anchor point right there. I need to move and slide this guy back where he needs to be. That. Okay. Let's do that with the right wing. Again, changing the anchor point to be where the flappy flap part of the butterfly wing is. Move it back into position. Like so. And the body is pretty much going to stay right there, although if you look here, the anchor point is a little bit off even on the body, and that's because it was on a little bit of angle. Okay, so you see it's all sealed up. So what am I going to do with this thing? Well, let's have some fun with this. Okay? Now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to zoom in on my timeline so I can see about a second of motion. See, that's at 1 second right there. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to grab the rotation. Is it X? Nope. Is it Y? Nope. Actually, rotate Z. Oops, no, that's not either. I guess it is X. Oh, no, it's Y. Okay, see? And I can literally flap the wing. So maybe I'll start here Y with a 130. No, it has to be less than 90, my bad. Let's say 80, okay? And I'm going to go to the beginning of time, and I'm going to key that Y rotation at positive 80. Let's go to the other wing. Right, that other wing, I'm going to find the rotate Y, and that's going to be negative 80. And I'm going to key that factor at 0. Now all I need to do, I'll just go, say, 10 frames forward. This will basically give me 3 flaps of the wing in a second. Switch that to being positive 80. Change this to being negative 80. And now all I need to do is copy these keys. Okay. Copy at 20, paste to get me to 1. Take it here, copy and paste to get to 1 second. Now before I go and do anything though, remember our shortcut to easy ease, F9. F9. That could also be done with a right-click keyframe assistant and F9. Mosquito. Dead mosquito. Okay. So what have I got so far? Hit the space bar. See that? I've got myself a flapping winged butterfly. So that now, right, I can take these three, copy, paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, until I eventually get as far out as I need. Just remember that the first key, okay, so when I copy and paste these, that the last key I'm at here, if I need to, I can see it starts at plus 80. And here it starts at negative 80. So when we go and copy these, you don't want to grab them all. Okay, you want to grab all but the last one. Or what I can do is just take this key, copy, paste, right here. Okay. Now I know it's ending at the same point, beginning and ending at the same point. And because I did that, without having to go copy, paste, right? I can simply take this here, and split it, and remove what I didn't animate yet. Split it. Actually, I think I did that wrong. Hold on 1 second. I gotta zoom in. Okay, and rather than split right there, I'm going to go 1 frame forward and do the split. There we go. And I just did the 1 frame forward so that if I go back 1, I have all my wings here. I'm just going to switch to my default settings there. So what does that leave me with? Well, it leaves me with a cycle of wing flapping, right? I could even turn on the motion blur for those. And then it's just an issue of Control D to duplicate. Shift will make it snap. Control D. This one. Now, if you absolutely must, you can rearrange these to make them a little bit easier to read, right? You can see where I'm not really cascading very well here. Okay, so I'm going up and up. More. E. That gets me just past 16, but that's okay because now I have a loop. See? I have a loop of the animation, but watch what I'm going to do now. I'm going to say this left wing, all the wings, hold shift, are what? Parented to the body. Now, why did I parent them to the body now? Because the body is how I'm going to go about animating the entire butterfly. Okay, now how can I animate the entire butterfly? Well, all I really need to do now is rotate the whole butterfly So without doing anything right now, and I hit the space bar, look at that. You see, I get a cycle of animation where the wings are animated along each other on their axes to get the flappy flap of the wings, and they're parented to the body. So I can now go ahead here and have some really neat fun here. Come on. By coming to the beginning of my comp, or maybe, who knows, maybe right here at 8, right? I'm going to key position and maybe minimize and scale a little bit. Okay? And maybe I'll key these X, Y, and Z values. And that'll allow me to put this in a different location. Maybe put it back in Z, right? So it's going back. So I'm not having to scale it per se. I'm just putting a key there. Let's go ahead and maybe play around with a little bit with the scale. Maybe change a little bit of this rotation a little bit. Okay. And you see now, this butterfly is going to fly into the scene there. And this is where we could have some interesting movements. Maybe have it go up, moving in time. Maybe have it come back down. So you get that uplift movement. When you're doing that, don't forget to do your easy ease. Maybe I'll hear at the end. Watch this. Let's have this go all the way off screen now. Okay. Go ahead and again, key your scales, rotates, whatever you need. Do some more ups, maybe some back. Just different kinds of movements, random movements, right? When he's off screen here, what am I going to do? I'm going to have him turn around. Okay, so now he's facing back towards the screen. Until I tell it how to fly back off the other side of the screen. So I literally just had him pull a 180 off screen. Now you see I've got all these factors. I can add a little more rotation to things to make it look like he's pointing in a particular direction. All said and done, I can take all these keys now, do the easy ease. Nothing moves in a straight line. Everything has ease in, ease out to it. So let's see what this actually looks like from the beginning now. Spacebar. Now be aware, his body is going to look a little weird because, well, it has no thickness, right? We're looking at it from the side. I want him to come on screen quicker there. Okay. So, how can I resolve his body? Let me find a point here where it's sideways. See? Out sideways. How can we correct that? Watch what I can do here. I'm going to take the body and duplicate it. All right? I'm going to come into all these keys and deactivate them. Because the way I want this body to be done now is I just need to rotate it on the one axis, which looks like Y. I probably should have done this at the very beginning. Like so. See that? Now I can see it from the side. But don't forget then, this also needs to be, this second body needs to be parented to the original body. And now we'll be able to see a little thicker body element to it. Now, if you want more and more dynamic kind of movement to that, you just have to have more up and down, more variety animation to the body. And that could be something as simple as copying and pasting more of these keys here. See? Copy, paste, copy. It's the position. Okay, let's just do those two. Watch this. Paste. You get a little bit more of that hovering. Whoops, let's put them, that's a little too far over. There. See, just more ups and downs. Like I say, I can copy, paste. Just more sporadic movement is what I'm animating here. He's catching the wind and flying around. So really neat kind of effect there. Now, if I want to, I could put more of them on there, right? And animate a bunch of them. I could new composition this. Take the butterfly comp. Duplicate it. Maybe change the speed. Okay, see, and now because it's changing the speed, they're not completely aligned. Maybe I'll come to this one here and boost the scale of it a little bit. Or just change where it's at, right? See that? So it's really neat that you can kind of make a lot of neat things in here. And this is where we could say, oh, you know, I wish I had maybe some clouds or some wind, or I could put this into a video with a video background or something. See, I'm almost finding here. Go back to body. Okay, I'm going to key scale off and make it be much smaller. Okay, so that they're just going to be smaller butterflies. They're not quite as big. Almost tells me here too that these position keys. Just going to leave some of these, just move them. I'm just exaggerating a little more movement here. And you see the result over in our secondary comp where they've been updated. And if I keep playing with this, I could do whatever I want with these guys. Remember, because they're just new, they're nested comps. So I could even come here, effect, color correction, hue saturation, and say, yeah, you know what? No, I want this one to be, you know, a blue butterfly or something like that. Oh, and I didn't even aim. Didn't motion blur the body. So, like I say, and then it's just an issue of, all right, well, what do I want for my background? Or do I want hundreds of these? Right? Because I could do it really quickly here by having them all over the screen, especially if I were to verify again, this, make it a lot smaller. See, so that they're smaller here. I could take these two now and duplicate them. Watch this. Take these two, duplicate, right? Just to duplicate them. Let's take this one, watch this, layer time reverse. Now it's going the opposite direction. Maybe I'll give it a different color. This one here. Maybe I'll have this stretched in time as well. So I did 120, maybe this one will be faster at 80%. I could always then come to my another new composition here. Take now that comp 1, bring it now into comp 2, right? Duplicate that. Maybe make this one larger, and watch what else I can do here, which is really cool. Under effects and presets, animation presets, or remember our shortcut, wiggle. I could come here and choose like wiggle position and wiggle rotation or wigglorama, drag it onto there. And that's now going to take the whole thing and kind of randomly move it. Now I couldn't do that when it's in 3D because it doesn't affect it that way, but I could do it as a flat 2D composition. Let's add some speed to this. Nervousness, maybe a 3 as well. I can change position so it's not quite as large. And you see now I get a lot of random variety here. See? Now, obviously, they're going a little identical, so maybe what I'll do here, time reverse it. Because I don't want them to moving all at the same time. There we go. I still have some that are following each other. So it's pretty amazing that what you can put together here and get that illusion of movement going. Let's try this. I'm trying to think of all the things. I mean, I could put dandelions in there, flowers. Let's put some grass blowing in the wind. Yes, Google. Images. Let's come in here and say grass. Remember our shortcut, PNG transparent. That gives us transparent elements here. Okay, so I've got some grass. Let's just see what we've got. Got to wait for it to turn. See, that actually will work. Save image as. Yes. Oh, it's a web BP. Can't do that. Wait for it to turn transparent and it'll work. Yeah, that one will work. Grass PNG, so I don't have to cut it out. Maybe come here and say sunny sky background or something like that. Oops. No, not New York. Let's just find one to work. They don't like that. Let's just say sky. Sure. Is that big enough? Well, that's really big. That's really big. Don't need it that big. Let's do boring. Okay, I'll go with that. Save image as. Blue sky. There. All right, so let's bring those in and play with them. Okay. Import file. Let's start with the. Well, I could bring them in at the same time, ironically enough. Okay. Import them at the same time. Got my blue sky. Now my blue sky, I'm going to put it behind this comp here. Okay, so it's just going to represent, oops, not a very large image. That's all right because it's actually going to be in the background. So I could actually come here and make it look like I'm not focused on it by adding some fake Gaussian blur. Right, because it's out of focus. And I'm going to do something else to this blue sky here. Make it be a little bit larger. Okay. At the beginning of the time here, I'm going to put some pins. Okay. And then I'm going to come in time to the very end, and I'm just going to move those pins just a little bit to warp and puppet to form the sky so it looks like the clouds are kind of moving. Actually, probably should go that way. See, they're all going in one direction. And you see, just that quickly now, the clouds will evolve. They'll have animation to them. Can't really tell it because it's not moving a lot, but they are moving. And you can see I've just simply put some puppet warps. We can even have some here, right? Keep moving them in the center, just to give them a little, whoops, that one was too far. All right, just to get some movement to it all. Now the grass, I could do it the same way, but I'm actually going to do it in a different composition just because sometimes it's nicer to have individual animated elements and not everything done in that one comp. Okay, so I'm going to find the grass. I'm going to drag it in here. Now these could be digital images that I'm using here. These could be that I built in Adobe Photoshop or I built in Illustrator or something like that. Okay. And you'll see why I'm actually doing an offset of this. Okay, I'm now going to say the bottom of the grass is not moving. See, I can show my mesh. Let's go ahead and turn that off. See, show the mesh. I want only the top parts of the grass to move. So I can come here. Move that grass. Come in here. See, and I'm just warping. This is how I did the Aqua Girl, or whatever you call her hair. because I just cut the hair out in a few sections and I was able to get it to deform. Okay. And remember, because we just did that, things move naturally when they are easy eased. Oops. And that would be the last pins, not the first pins. And that's just a quick F9. Now, why did I do it on one layer like this and not in the main comp? Because I'm just going to duplicate it. And I'm going to flip this around. Okay, so I have grass moving independently from the other layers. And now go back to my other comp that's got my sky and everything and bring comp 3 into it. Right? Do I want it in front of the butterflies? Do I want it behind the butterflies? I'll put it in front. And you're going to see that grass just gradually blowing in the wind very neatly there, right? Very cool. And so you can build yourself a comp. Maybe go find some video or even here, right? New composition. I'm going to make another composition here. Let me go ahead and pull 2 into 4. So it's all flattened down into one nested layer. And now any effect I do here is going to affect everything there. So let's see, what am I looking for? Generate. Let's do a lens flare. They're kind of cheesy, but they do some pretty cool results. And I'll just pick out where my sunshine's kind of coming from here. Okay? And you can see we've got different types. But I just like that lens flare there because, you know, they can fly in front of it. It's giving me a neat effect there. What else can I drop in here? In simulation, like I said, I can create, you know, rain, bubbles, make it drizzle, you know. Just do that. Just be aware that you might want to have the wind blowing in the right direction. And if you actually make this really low speed, and not that many of them, rather than looking like rain, these will actually look like, you know, pollen blowing around, little particles of dust and so on. So let's see what this actually turns out looking like. Let me come back here, butterfly comp, right? I'll name it so because that's the folder it's in. And let's go ahead and export this. All right, here comes a media encoder. Now, there's nothing specific here as far as file types or formats. Just remember, we're doing H.264 1920 by 1080. Just wait for this to click. Come on. Come on, I'm waiting. There it is. See? Double check your settings. Because remember, Media Encoder will remember the last settings, not the new settings. I can verify my content over here. Let it finish. There we go. Right? Verify it's all in here. H.264, match source, output name and location. Right, and this would work with your last name and what is this? The artistic comp or project 6, assignment 6, whatever it happens to be. Hit OK and hit the green encoding button, and we'll get the process to work there. So you could do that with, you could do that with, like I said, some spaceship in space with stars and planets and stuff like that. You could do, like I said, underwater, you can make fish that way. All you need is the fins to be the wings, and then the body is, of course, facing the screen.